Hey everyone, talking about my top 5 favorite floral notes. So, a couple things. One, there's definitely a misconception that all floral notes are automatically feminine leaning, even if someone who's a guy wants to wear them. By all means, do, even if for the really feminine leaning ones. But I also just want to say that's not even true. So, if you strongly prefer masculine scents, don't feel like you have to shy away from anything just because you see floral notes in it, because by no means does that mean it's not going to smell as masculine as you want it to. But yeah, that said, I'll go over, which of these can apply in that sense as well for those who care. But these are ones that I really love. I'll probably do another one of ones I hate because there's a lot that I do not like. But Neroli, that is a flower that grows on the bitter orange tree, and I'll say tied with orange blossom. I definitely prefer Neroli, and they're pretty similar, but they both grow on the bitter orange tree, and they're similar enough that I'll just put those both in that spot. Yeah, to me, it doesn't smell that floral. Some people, it does smell very much like a white floral, which it is. To me, it just smells like this beautiful, like kind of astringent, bitter, sweet, fresh citrus orange, and I just absolutely love it. One of my favorite notes ever, not just in the floral category. 2, Heliotrope. So this kind of smells like powdery almond vanilla. And this has been, you could say that for most of these, I guess, that they've been used in perfume fragrance for hundreds of years. But yeah, this is just what I keep kind of going back to think of how to describe it, is just like sort of powdery almond vanilla with like a little bit of a floral tilt, but really commonly sort of used either as like a soliflor, as they call it, like sort of stuff that's really heavily based around heliotrope, or stuff sort of gourmandy where it's helping with that vanilla powdery side. And I like that. 3, Lily of the Valley, not regular lily, but specifically Lily of the Valley. I don't like regular lily, but Lily of the Valley to me is like, I think this is one that people say is like a funeral flower. And so for people who have smelled a lot of that at funerals, I guess that would be a negative association. But for me, it's like a very like clean white floral, if that makes any sense. Like it doesn't get indolic to me. It doesn't just get like so thick or anything. Like it just kind of helps add like sort of like some fresh, clean white floral to other scents. I'm sure some other people might think like, oh no, it's so floral and this or that. But for me, that's what I tend to get out of it. And I often really like that. And I think it just adds a little bit without taking center stage and can just add some nuance to other stuff. Next, Carnation. This is actually one of the ones that is very explicitly masculine leaning most of the time. Historically, especially, was very common throughout the 1900s, used as, and I don't just mean 1900 to 1910, but all the way to the 90s, used in masculine fragrances, like masculine vintage ones that we would now consider vintage. It's still used today, but not nearly as frequently as it was. And this has a smell kind of like clove, kind of like a little bit of a smoky, spicy aspect, which you wouldn't think for floral, but that is what Carnation as a note in wearable fragrance smells like. And it can come across dated for sure today, but I like it, and it smells intriguing to me. It smells good. It just reminds me of some of vintage ones that I really like, and it's unique to me. And for 5, I guess I'll sort of tie this. In one sense, I'll say Tiare flower, Tiare. That isn't really in anything that I wear, I don't think, but it's more the one type where I just think it smells really good. It has this like tropical vibe. It just makes me think of like a tropical island when I smell that. And then I'll tie that with Jasmine, because Jasmine is in so many of my favorite fragrances, but oftentimes I really, really dislike it too. So it just so depends on how it's used. And that's true for almost every note universally. But really, Jasmine is a major example of that. It can be used in the background where you don't even know it's there. That's so often. Like if you see Jasmine as a note in a fragrance, that does not mean it's a floral fragrance by any means. And it's not like rose or something where it's pretty hard for rose to hide. Sometimes it does, but not usually. Jasmine hides all the time in fragrances, and it just adds like a little something here. Other times it is dominant, and I like it. Like if it's growing in the wild, like I live in Los Angeles where there's a lot of jasmine growing in the summer and stuff. I love that fresh smell. But so often when it's in fragrance, it's just so thick and just like over the top white floral to me, or indolic, and just too much. But when it's good, I really, really love that sort of like fresh, sweet touch that it adds. And curious what anybody else's favorite floral fragrances are. And I guess, I'll do one soon, and maybe my top 5 least favorite, but I really like all of these. I would say that the first 3 are pretty far above the second half of the list or whatever, especially Neroli. Like that's just like I said, an all-time favorite. But I definitely like all of these, and these would be considered my favorites.